Hello everyone, welcome. And by everyone, I do mean everyone. I assume there are 7 billion views for this video. Welcome to National Treasures Interviews, the interview series of the podcast series National Treasures, hosted by me, Will Duggan, and Laura Lexx. I assume that you've listened to the podcast because it's A, superb, and B, you're here. If you haven't, it is a podcast wherein Laura and I go for lovely days out in the UK and then report back to you so you can make your decisions. But COVID has stopped everything.
Who do I hate that's died?
Emperor Nero.
I save my hate for the living. Who do you hate then?
Wow. Who's died?
Yeah.
Ian Botham?
He's still alive, isn't he?
I fucking hate him though.
Why do you hate Ian Botham? It wasn't good. It's not been a good week here at National Treasures. That's what Will and I are basically saying. We've had a bit of a bad one, haven't we, Will?
Yes, it's been both professionally and personally dog shit.
It's been shit on shit on shit. We didn't get Arts Council funding because we're not arty enough. God, if only we were making.
They think this isn't artistically worthwhile.
Will, you lost a job, didn't you?
Well, no, I lost not just our job, the one job I have now that I've lost my actual job.
Yes, and
the closest thing to employment is this.
Which we don't get paid for, but we will do when all of you sign up to our Patreon.
Wink.
It's a good wink, wasn't it? And I lost a grandpa today, the only one I had left. So that's bad too, isn't it? We've not had a great one, have we?
No.
Now, today's guest is very exciting. She was one of the first people to respond to us when we were looking for guests. See, we source our guests, thanks to having no Arts Council funding. We source our guests via the medium of the free internet. Katie, thank you so much for joining us. So you are a welcome host at the Tower of London?
At Tower Bridge.
Tower Bridge, oh my God, yes. Tower Bridge of London.
So right next to Tower London. But the bridge itself.
I'm assuming that's why it's called Tower Bridge then, is it? Because it's next to the Tower of London?
Absolutely. So it's named for its location. It was, like many of the skyscrapers in the city of London, given a nickname to help identify it. And they were like, oh, we'll call it the Tower Bridge because it's next to the tower. And it kind of stuck.
Now, I suppose I need to ask, because your accent's not a traditional London accent. Do you mind if I ask where you're from? We can edit this out if you don't like it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm from Chicago.
Oh, I love Chicago.
The Windy City.
It's where my favourite film is set while you were sleeping. So you're from a very cool city. What makes you want to spend all your time in London? Less windy, more rainy?
Almost just as windy. Side note.
Sorry, did you say that London is almost as windy as Chicago? The Windy City.
So
you are really coasting on that nickname, aren't you?
The Windy City comes from when Chicago put a bid in to host the Columbian Exposition, the World's Fair, in 1893.
This is great insider info.
New York was one of Chicago's opponents. And of course, Chicago and New York have a great rivalry. And so Chicago had just had a fire, destroyed everything. And New York was like, oh, don't trust those Chicagoans. They're a bunch of windy windbags, talking a whole bunch of hot air.
Oh.
So
those New York fuckers.
So that is why Chicago is called the Windy City.
So thank you so much for joining us today. So you no longer reside in Chicago. You now live in London, home of Boudica and Caesar. And you give tours of Tower Bridge, which, I mean, this is such a typical thing to say, but I didn't know you could have tours of Tower Bridge. It's a bridge, isn't it? What can you see in Tower?
Exactly. So what most people don't realize is that you can go inside Tower Bridge. If you can picture the 2 white Portland stone towers, and then it's got that upper walkway. So you can go inside all of that.
Cool.
So you go inside the two towers, go across the top level walkways, which was originally built for pedestrians to cross while the bridge was opening.
Amazing.
So before they'd finished doing the whack whack bit, they made the bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. So not only is it part of the architecture and the engineering, but it was also, I think, just like that push to be. And since we don't know how long this is going to take to open up the bridge, for the pedestrians not to get so upset, they can climb up 206 steps, cross over, and climb down again, or take the lift, because lifts were also functioning at that time.
And I guess were lifts quite a new and exciting thing then?
Yes. So William Armstrong, who was designing the steamed powered engines that operated the bascules. So that's the bit.
So what were they called? Sorry.
Bascules.
Bascules. Good
Bascules is the part of the roadway that rises. It comes from a French word meaning seesaw. So it looks very much like an old-fashioned drawbridge. And that is originally what Horace Jones's intent was. He had this huge archway to support it. But then John Wolfe-Barry came along and was like, I've got this mate, William Armstrong, and he's doing some crazy stuff with hydropower, which is basically water pressure. So he can lift your bascules without having these heavy chains, and also power lifts.
That's really cool. That's always my favourite bit in my favourite Disney film. You know the bit in Sword in the Stone when they're trying to get the drawbridge and he's like, Pellinor, dash it all. I love that guy. And then he goes in and has the feast and he goes, and all the red wine comes out of his moustache.
I was about to say that Katie's description of the bascules and the hydropower was the most intelligent thing that had been said in any content we'd provided. And then before I could get it out, you went, have you seen Sword in the Stone? My God, that's a good film.
Okay, so Katie, the first question that I have to ask, because it's the first thing that came into my head from the second you emailed us, tell me about the story of the man that accidentally bought London Bridge thinking it was Tower Bridge. That's all that's been rattling around in my stupid basic brain, but that's what I want to know. Is there any truth to this story? What happened? Can you tell us?
So a London Bridge.
So it is true?
Yes, somebody bought London Bridge.
Right.
They never thought they were buying Tower Bridge. Okay. So London Bridge. In 1831, John Rennie rebuilt London Bridge. He knocks down the old medieval bridge that has been there since 1209.
Oh,
this is the bridge that...
isn't it,
yeah, but for bridges, it's lasted a lot longer. It survived fires. This old London Bridge is the one that had all of the houses and the shops on it.
Oh, that's quite cool, though.
Yeah. And it did have a small drawbridge to allow passing boats. But it was falling apart. It was made out of wood piles sunk into the river. And so by the 19th century, not only is the population booming, but we're getting a lot more heavy carts and horses, just a lot more traffic. So it needs to be rebuilt. It's rebuilt by John Rennie. That's completed in 1831. Now, throughout the 19th century, the population of London booms, especially in the East End. So it goes from about 1 million to 6 million.
Bloody hell.
So a lot more traffic. London Bridge, they are expanding it. They double the width. And this is eventually why we get Tower Bridge, because the East End needs another river crossing. But going back to London Bridge, it couldn't cope. It couldn't cope with the now automobiles that were passing along as well. So in the 1970s, they decide to rebuild it again. They put the bridge up for auction, and a US man...
Put a bridge up for auction, though? Like...
People will buy anything.
Lot 1, London Bridge.
Yeah.
Who's to start me off? £5. That's how you do it.
What
So
are you
London Bridge
saying, though? That
is
just the components of it, or does someone come
you're
and put it
you were
up to you?
selling the bricks, the
Right,
stones.
okay, so it's like an IKEA deal. We just sell
Yeah.
you the parts. It's not
Absolutely.
technically a bridge, it's the building materials for a bridge.
Yeah, and
The London
the
Eye
design.
Kia.
So, and that's how his name is Robert McCulloch, and how he decided to place his bid was he doubled the price of the bricks and the cost for shipping it. So he paid £1 million in US dollars. That's 2.46 million US dollars for it. And the bridge, they took it apart bit by bit, wrote a number on it, and they did it. So it's right now in Lake Havasu City, Arizona.
Do we know why he bought it? Was he just a history fan, or too much money? Did he know
Lake
what to do?
Havasu City, yeah, basically too much money. He created kind of a little London. So he's also got a reptilian box there, and it's become a huge tourist attraction.
So Tower Bridge came along after. So it's relatively young in terms of British history, actually. Like, as much as we've got to go back on, the end of the 1800s isn't very far away for us. Do we know who the first person to cross it was? Like, not on the footbridge, because obviously that was happening while it was open. But was there a grand opening? Who opened it?
There was a grand opening. So the 30th of June, 1894. And 1894, so the bridge will be 127 years old. So
Young,
yes, exactly, as you said, very, very young. And the first person to open it, so to open the bascules, was the Prince of Wales.
Okay.
So Victoria was still reigning. She was still queen. Of course, she was pushing on in her years at this point, and so gave the extremely elaborate celebratory button opening. So one really cool thing, so they wanted to make the Prince of Wales feel important, and that he was actually controlling opening up the bridge. So they had him push a button, but of course that button didn't do anything. It was just a button.
That's a metaphor for the British royal family.
But in order to make it seem like that button connected to send signals along the way. And this delayed the opening of the bridge by a couple of seconds. And that went out to the newspaper saying, Prince of Wales pushed the button, and then it took so much time later for the bridge to actually start moving. So they're like, it's going to be a disaster. When in actual fact, it only took 60 seconds for the bridge to open completely.
That's incredible. That's
quick.
mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
How often does the bridge open, like now, today?
In 2019, it opened just under 800 times in the year.
I was expecting you to say
2
like
or 3
3
times a day?
Yes. Yeah. So more times during the summer, because the main vessels that use it are tourist vessels. So we get a lot of cruise ships that come through, and then they dock up next to the Belfast, and then just pleasure boats that come through.
So how does that work? Do you have to write for permission to go through, or do you just get near and go, ooh? How does that work?
Let me through. So it switched when the amount of times that the bridge opened decreased. So initially, when the bridge was opening close to 9,000 times a year, when it first opened, so in the first couple of decades, all you had to do was raise a black ball on your mast. Or if it was really dark or foggy, you would show 2 red lights, and then somebody would be at the watchtower.
Sorry, 9,000 a year.
Yeah.
That's
so this was at
times,
the height of the warehouses.
That's 30 times. That's more than once an hour.
Yeah, but you're talking hardly any cars at that point.
I'm still talking once an hour.
About every 20 minutes. It will open for any vessel. It just has to be over 9 meters tall, and you have to write in 24 hours in advance.
Okay.
So just send us an email. And if you have a vessel over 9 meters tall, please invite me, because I want to be on a boat when it opens.
Have you ever seen it open?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
It does it twice a day. Laura, it does it twice a day and she works there.
Okay, sorry.
Has a boat ever hit the bridge?
Yes, it has.
Yes.
Yes.
I choked then. I got so excited I choked.
You were so...
Sorry.
Boats have hit the bridge. There is a particular width, so it's 200 feet wide. I don't know what that is in meters.
Neither do British people. We're arseholes.
Okay.
Stick to feet.
So
we don't know
100
what a
feet.
foot is.
So that was the requirement, because most vessels are that big. And most vessels do get through, but some of them do sideline, so along the edges. And one vessel in particular that we call the banana boat, because it brought in banana cargo, hit the bridge times.
I love this. I'm so
through.
excited by this. This is what I get really like such a nerd on about this show, is that things that I've worked, like I've walked past Tower Bridge so many times and I've always thought it's pretty, it's cute, and you know, it's part of London. But then you don't have to dive very far into stuff before you start going, hang on a minute, this is all really interesting. Greetings! Here is your interruption of us, by us, from us, to you, via us.
Couldn't be clearer. Couldn't be simpler. Thank you.
Yes.
No new patrons to thank this week, and that's fine. We didn't cry about it for like 3 weeks or anything. No worries.
No.
But we would, of course, like to have more new names to thank next week. So if you're enjoying this, would like to join our Patreon, link below. You'll get these videos, the bonus content for these videos, our bonus podcast, Years and Years. We recorded one yesterday. It was very
Lots
funny.
of fun.
Lots of fun. And of course, you'll get your badge, your photo, and these videos as a downloadable audio file, so you can listen as you go about your day.
Yeah, our patrons mentioned that some of them are not big video watchers but would love to listen to it while they did the washing up or walk the dog. So we've turned them all into a podcast for you, and you can get those all in an RSS feed with the Years and Years podcast as well. So give it a go, try it for a month, see if you like the extra stuff. We would love you forever.
Try it for a year. End broadcast.
Now, you like the engines, don't you? Do you
Yes.
prefer, are you more of a nerd for the engines than the fancy towers? What is it that you like about the engines?
Mainly that you can go see them, that they're still in working order. So the Tower Bridge exhibition actually opened when the engines were no longer in service. So during World War II, a third steam engine was bought because Tower Bridge had to open. And if it got bombed, if it got destroyed, they needed to have a backup. But that they didn't need it. Luckily, the engine room wasn't bombed. So that engine was sold to a industrial museum in Norfolk. So that is on display, and you can see other engines there, but nobody could really see how Tower Bridge opened. So as you've said, it's a beautiful bridge. Architecturally, it's gorgeous, but learning how it actually opens, especially now, how does steam manage to open 12,000 ton pieces of roadwork?
I have a
So
personal
it's got that
question.
beautiful white Portland stone. Yeah.
Which direction do you prefer looking from the Tower of London? Do you like looking...
Like looking
So if
west
you're facing the north
and
bank,
north.
yeah, if you're facing the north, do you prefer east or west? So west is towards Parliament, east is the other way towards, I suppose, Greenwich and the City of London. Which do you prefer?
So it is, Tower Bridge is just to the east of the City of London. So looking west, you immediately have the city. So you have the skyscrapers such as the Cheese Grater and the Gherkin.
Which one do you prefer?
looking to the west.
Good answer.
Yeah, that
North.
feels like the more happening bit, because I suppose east you've only really got like Greenwich and stuff's happening down there, and that's quite
You've
a
got
way.
the docks and the warehouses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you love Tower Bridge, but we're going to take the Tower Bridge as your top number 1 bridge. I want your 4 other top 5 bridges. Tower Bridge.
In the world,
In the
or
world. Go for it.
in the world.
Fictional, worldwide, whatever you want, babe. What are we going for? Tower Bridge.
Second one is Millennium Bridge
Bush. Good bridge.
in London. Across, I just love that view going to St. Paul's. And then in Chicago, there is the bridge that, the Michigan Avenue Bridge. So it's a double-decker bridge. It's got lower bridge and then an upper one. Yeah,
That's not
and
the
it's
bridge
also
that the scene with Sandra
a
Bullock and Bill Pullman
raising
filmed
bridge.
in While You Were Sleeping, is it?
No, it's got a whole bunch of flags across it.
Damn it. Okay. That sounds cool,
I
though.
don't
A
know which one
double-decker
is the-
bridge.
Yeah.
So we've got Tower
That's
Bridge,
3.
Millennium Bridge. What did you call
Michigan
it?
Avenue Bridge.
Michigan Avenue Bridge. Coming in at number 4 on the Katie Davies list of bridges, we have.
In Budapest, there is a bridge. I believe it's called the Frankfurt Bridge, and that again is split between their parliament and their castle. It's just absolutely beautiful.
Is that the bridge that crosses between Buda and Pest? And it's
Pest.
like, yeah,
And connects them. Yeah.
yeah,
That's
gorgeous.
lovely.
Yes, I agree.
And in at 5, the final one.
It's got to be the Rialto Bridge.
The what bridge?
The Rialto Bridge in Florence. So that's the one where you go shopping on.
That's where she wants to go in While You Were Sleeping.
Stop
That's where
talking about what I'm fucking sleeping.
Could you please settle once and for all who is the most historically aware / geographically aware between myself, Laura Lexx, and William S. Duggan?
Duggan. William Duggan. We've known each other for so long.
It's time for Katie's quiz. Okay.
All right. So my first question. So today, the bridge is painted red, white, and blue. It's a 2-part question. What was the original color of the bridge?
Boop.
Will's hand was up first, but I don't know if that's like a think or
Yeah, we don't really have a thing. I invented
thing
I'm a
is-
definitive
right now.
I was being polite, and Laura has no truck for that kind of thing.
You go, William. I'll let you answer first.
Green.
Yes, not the correct answer.
All right.
Laura, what was your guess?
I'm gonna say white.
No, it was originally chocolate brown.
Ooh.
Texture like sun.
Yeah. So these are the steel bits, chocolate brown, and then during the wars it was painted battleship gray. Well, to carry on that one, so we don't know why the bridge was painted chocolate brown originally, but the current colors are red, white, and blue, and we do know why these colors were chosen. Any guesses? If I tell you that it was painted in 1977.
Oh yeah! Boom! 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 Yeah! Bam! Yeah! Bam!
Yes,
bam.
yes, Will.
Silver Jubilee.
Absolutely right. Yeah. So this is Queen Elizabeth's 25th anniversary.
Billy, I'm
being
so
queen.
happy for Becca that you not only knew that was 20. It doesn't matter that you knew that was 25 years since the coronation, but that you knew that 25 was silver. That bodes very well for when you finally propose to that beautiful girlfriend of yours.
Question 3. Okay, so the engines to raise Tower Bridge are now use electricity. They originally used steam. In which decade did they switch from steam hydraulic power to electric power?
1920s.
That is a okay guess. It's a logical guess.
1990s.
1990s.
Surely
Closer.
it's oh, okay. 1970s.
It's 1970s. Spot on.
Yes!
It could have switched almost as soon as it was complete because we had electricity, but it was more important to have the bridge open and operatable. And they were like, steam is working, we'll just keep it. But in the 1970s, the number of bridge lifts decreased due to containerization. This is when the docks moved further east into places like Canary Wharf and like the West Indian dock area. So the docks and the warehouses were no longer in the pool of London where Tower Bridge is. The river wasn't deep enough. So they were like, we'll take advantage of the bridge not opening so much, but it actually took 2 years to make the transition. I do have another question.
Ooh, okay.
Right, we go decide
So
it.
we talked about the requirements to have the bridge open, but we didn't say how much does it cost for the bridge to open? Yes, Will.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's free.
Absolutely correct.
You've clearly been on the website today.
I clearly have lived in London for 3 years.
What, and you've
It's-
asked for the bridge to be opened?
I just
You
take
don't
aware
own
of
a
my surroundings.
9-foot yacht.
Well, no, it would have to be 9 meters.
9
That's only in
meters.
height. Maybe 80 meters wide. The length is irrelevant. You know, if you'd listened to what Katie had said,
I did
you'd know
listen.
the
I just
dimensions
don't
of the
remember
boat that I
things.
don't own. It's free because the waterways are imperative to the city.
Yeah, absolutely correct. It's part of that Act of Parliament, 1885.
I fucking won. I've only
God
gone and
damn
fucking
it.
won.
That is 2 in a row.
I've only gone and won. It's Duggan. It's late night. It's happening.
That's 2 in a row to Billy D. Duggansums.
Right, Katie, we've kept you for far too long. So just quickly, 2 things we'd like. Obviously, you don't want to assume anyone, but everyone knows what Tower Bridge is. If anyone is listening to this and gone, what is Tower Bridge? Can you give us some pop culture or historical references where people can go, oh, that's Tower Bridge? For example, if we were talking about Henry VIII, you'd say Wolf Hall, the Highlands, Outlander. What is Tower Bridge?
So Tower Bridge is the bridge of London. It is the gateway to London. The beautiful 2 white Portland stone towers, the high-level walkways, and the blue steel suspension chains. This sets the scene for so many medias, television, photographs, and advertisements. This is the image that you see that represents London and even the United Kingdom. In France, it might be the Eiffel Tower. In Rome, it might be the Colosseum. For London, it is Tower Bridge. And because of this, it is in several films, TV shows. It's in Bridget Jones's Diary. She lives in Southwark, so she crosses the bridge. And the new movie Cruella will also feature in it, so keep an eye out for Cruella. But the bridge itself almost acts as a character. So in Brannigan, which is a John Wayne film, there is a car chase and John Wayne has to jump over the opening bascules. So he jumps over the gap of the bridge. In the Sherlock Holmes film starring Robert Downey Jr., 2009, you have at the end, they are climbing through the high-level walkways and it's still in construction.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
more recently in Spider-Man Far From Home, the final battle scene happens surrounding Tower Bridge, and one of the villains is in the high-level walkways and watches the whole thing through the glass floor. So you can see the river and the road underneath you and the battle happening.
I
Wonderful.
love it. Thank you so much. And there's a chance that viewers that have enjoyed Katie today will see her again in this series, because Katie also is very passionate about the Monument to the Great Fire of London. And we're
Absolutely.
going to do our best to persuade her to come back and tell us all about that.
Please.
Katie, in the meantime, where can people find you to tell you their love and just follow you for your acting work and your tour guidingness? Let us know where people can get hold of you.
Here, I don't have social media access at the moment.
You're
Yes.
so mysterious.
Yet. Yeah.
What's your address?
You can send me, snail mail.
Yeah.
Email.
Dox yourself.
Yes. No, I prefer courier pigeons.
You email us, we'll vet it and see if it's good enough to go to our darling Katie.
Do you know what? If you want to talk to Katie, wait till the world's open, go to Tower Bridge and find a very knowledgeable Chicagoan and ask her a question.
Find me at Tower Bridge.
Also, if you want to talk to Katie, grow up. You don't know her. You can't talk to her. She chooses not to be on social media, so stop being a pervert for even trying.
You just told our listeners to fuck themselves.
You do that like 3 times an episode.
Yeah, but I'm a cheeky little boy.
I'm a cheeky little boy too.
Right, the interview's done. Go fuck yourself.
Right.
Stop watching.
Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much to our guest, Katie. Listen, this has been a very specially emotionally drunk episode for Will and Laura, but Katie's dealt with it amazingly well. I think you'll agree. We thank you so much for watching. We love doing this show, and honestly, it's been the worst year ever. But having this show, we text about it all the time because we've got nothing else to do, but we talk about how much we love this. Pardon?
I got your microphone just
you
for this. That's how much I love it.
We love doing this show, and we hope that slowly and surely it's finding the people it's meant for. And if you're one of them, thank you for being in our little club of nerdy people that just want comfort stuff. It's
really helped us through what has been just dog shit. It's been dog shit. This has been all I've lived for. If you want to talk to us, do send us an email at nationaltreasurespodcast@gmail.com, or follow us at treasurespod on Instagram and Twitter. And if you can like and subscribe to I feel like a fucking teenager playing Mario Kart. If you want to like and subscribe, guys, then bloody hell, just hit that bell. But do it. It helps the algorithm.
It really does.
If you've not listened to series 1, go on to iTunes or wherever you get your podcast from. Subscribe for that. Leave us a 5-star. All that dog shit. Yeah. All that absolute dog shit.
And the second we are back out and recording series 2, we'll be back out with more podcasts to be in your ears. But until then, thank you so much for sticking with us, and thank you for watching. We hope you learned something, not courtesy of us, but courtesy of our lovely guest, Katie. Thank you very much for joining us. Bye.
Also sign up for the Patreon because we want your fucking money.
Jesus.
Bye.
Why do you all have to end it on a negative?